Good day friends, welcome you all in this lecture series on risk and return. In my previous lectures on risk and return, I talked about the concept of risk, concept of return, and my immediate previous lecture on the topic of risk and return, I talked about measurement of risk and return. In continuation of that, friends, I'll be talking of today in this lecture about coefficient of variation and measurement of systematic return. Friends, if you recollect, in my last lecture on measurement of risk, we talked about standard deviation, means that is we measure risk by standard deviation or variance. Basically, standard deviation is an absolute measure of measurement of risk of a security, that if we want to measure the risk of a security, we can measure the risk of a security by calculating the standard deviation of that, or we can calculate it through variance. But as I said, standard deviation is a measure of total risk of the security. It is an absolute measure of risk, means it measures the risk in exact terms, that what is the expected risk if you invest in a particular security. When expected returns are same for the two investment, then the risk can be compared using standard deviation. When we want to compare two or more securities having different average returns, we should not use standard deviation to conclude about the riskiness of the securities. In such case, we should use coefficient of variation. What it means is, friends, that when you are calculating standard deviation, supposing there are two security A and security B. When I use the word security, means say for example share. So if you invest in security A and security B, and the return of the two securities is same, both the securities, if you invest in security A, it will give you 15% return. If you invest in security B, it will also give you 15% return. And when you calculate the risk of these two securities, the standard deviation, the risk which you are measuring through standard deviation of A is 10%, standard deviation of B security is 12%. Then I can outrightly say that security B is more risky, or it is riskier than security A. So risk element in security B is higher. Since return is same, I'm repeating what I said, both the securities are giving same return, 10%, 12%. A security 10%, B security 12%. And as far as the standard deviation or as far as the risk is concerned, in A security it is 10% and in B security it is 12%. So since risk varies, standard deviation varies in both the security, so the security which is having higher standard deviation, it means it is more risky. But there are cases when the return of the two securities are different. That is, if security A, for example, security A is giving you 10% return, security B is giving you 15% return, and the standard deviation of A security is 15%, standard deviation of B security is 20%. I cannot say that security B is riskier as compared to security A, because in security A the standard deviation is 15%. That is, as I said, that standard deviation measures the amount of risk. Higher is the standard deviation, higher is the risk. And in case of security B, it is 20%. So I cannot say that security B is more risky as compared to security A, because the return of the two securities is different. That is, to sum up, that if the two securities having same return, same percentage of return, and the security which is having larger standard deviation will be considered as more risky. But in case the return of the two securities is different and the standard deviation is different, then in that case, just by seeing standard deviation, we cannot say which security is more risky. In such situation, coefficient of variation is being used, right? So it means it is a relative measure of measurement of risk. That is, through when you are comparing two securities and the return is different in the two securities, then we take help of coefficient of variation instead of standard deviation. So we say that when we want to compare two or more securities having different average returns, we should not use standard deviation to conclude about the riskiness of the securities. In such case, we should use coefficient of variation. Now, so what is coefficient of variation? It measures relative variability. Relative variability means relative variability of the two securities. Two securities or more than two securities. So, it is a ratio of standard deviation to mean. That is, how do you calculate the coefficient of variation? That is, the formula is the standard deviation divided by mean. So, it is particularly useful when the investor wants to compare two or more securities having different average returns and standard deviation. So, higher the coefficient of variation, greater is the risk. That is, when you calculate through by using this formula of the coefficient of variation, standard deviation about divided by mean, the security which is having higher coefficient of variation, will call it is relatively more risky as compared to the another security, right? So, we use when we are comparing of two securities or more than two securities, we take help of the coefficient of variation, and the security which is having higher coefficient of variation will be considered as more riskier. Let us take an example, and through this example we will try to understand which security is more risky. Like I have taken example security A and security B. Expected return of security A is 14%, expected return of security B is 17%, and the standard deviation, that is which is a measurement of risk, of security A is 7.5% and of security B it is 11%. Which security is more risky? This is the question before us. Outrightly, as in layman, somebody will see, and if he or she is being told that the standard deviation is a measurement of risk, then the person will conclude that 11% is the B security is having 11% standard deviation, so it is more risky. It is not the right conclusion which that person has derives, right? For finding out the right conclusion, for finding out which security is more risky, you will have to take help of the coefficient of variation. Had the return of the two securities been same, then I could have said with the help of the standard deviation that which security is more risky, right? Just by seeing standard deviation. But here in this case, since the expected return is different in the two securities, then I'll have to take help of the coefficient of variation, right? So, what is coefficient of variation? I've just said the standard deviation divided by mean. So, coefficient of variation of a security A is equal to 7.5% divided by 14. 7.5% is the standard deviation of the security A and 14% is the mean return. So, 7.5 divided by 14% is come to be 0.54. Coefficient of security B is 11%, that is the standard deviation of the security B divided by the return of the security, that is 17%. So, 11 divided by 17% is 11% divided by 17%, that comes to be 0.65. And as I just said that the security which is having higher coefficient of variation will be considered as more risky. So, in this case the security B is more risky as compared to security A, right? So, security B is riskier as it is compared to security B. So, here also that you are seeing the standard deviation is of security B is higher, but we have derived the conclusion not on the basis of standard deviation, but on the basis of coefficient of variation. So, I will say that security B is riskier because the coefficient of B security is higher than security A. Let us take another example. An investor is considering following two securities for investment, right? Probability is given, return of security is given, return of security Y is given, right? So, here the probability of getting 8% return of security X is 30% and 15% for return security Y is 30%. There is a 40% probability that security X will give 10% return and 10% return will be received by return of security B, right? Similarly, there is a 30% probability that security X will receive 12% return and security Y will receive 11% return. So, now the question is which security should be selected by the investor and why? So, friends, in this case there are three things. What you are given is you are given the probability. In my previous example, we were being given that what is the return of the two securities, but here exact return is not given. There is a different probability of getting different returns. So my first job will be, there will be three-part solution in it. First part will be calculating return of the security X and Y. The second part will calculate the risk of the two securities, security X and Y, by using the formula of standard deviation. And the third part will be that in order to measure the relative riskiness of the security, will take help of the coefficient of variation, right? So if in this example the return of the two securities after taking into account the probability will be same, then on the basis of standard deviation we can conclude. But if the return, average return, when I am using the word return, means average return of the two securities will be different, then we will have to take a help of the coefficient of variation. Let's solve it, right? So this is the problem before us. In order to solve this problem, I said we'll solve it by taking three different steps. First is calculating average return. The second step is we'll calculate the risk of the two securities, security X and Y. The third is that we'll be calculating coefficient of variation for finding out that which security is more risky. So let's do it, right? So R1 is given, the percentage is given, the probability is given 8%, 10%, 12%, right? So P1, first of all I am calculating for return of the and risk of the security X, right? 8% return, 10% return, 12% return. The probability of the three returns, in three different situations is given 30%, 40%, 31%. And as you know that the average return of the security is summation of RI PI, right? So I will say 8% multiplied by 0.3, 10% multiplied by 0.4 and 12% multiplied by 0.3. So that is give you RI PI, summation of RI PI. If you add these three, you will get 2.4, 4, 3.6. So it comes to be 3 plus 3, 5, 6, 4, 10%. So average return is 10%. So I will say average return, that is the R bar, or we call it average return, is 10%. Now the second step is you have to calculate risk of the security X. So we'll use the formula of standard deviation for calculating risk, and standard deviation is measured by this formula, the square root of summation of I is equal to 1 to n, PI means the probability, multiplied by RI minus R by R bar whole square, right? So using this formula we'll calculate the standard deviation, or I will say the risk of the security X. So for this average return we have already calculated by summation of RI PI. Now the next step is you have to calculate risk. For calculating risk, I am in the next column RI minus R bar. RI means 8% is a return, that is a 30% probability that 8% return. So 8 minus 10. So minus 2, 10 minus 10, 0, 10 minus 12, 2, right? So next step is probability multiplied by RI minus RI minus average return whole square, right? So you multiplied this 2 into 2, 4 multiplied by 0.3, 1.2. Similarly, 0 into 0 multiplied by 0.4, that comes to be 0. 2 into 2 multiplied by 3, that comes to be 1.1, 1.2. So you make summation of this 2.4, right? So the standard deviation you apply in the last column we have already calculated PI multiplied by RI minus R bar. R bar is nothing but average return whole square, right? So we have already calculated 2.4, right? So square root of 2.4 is equal to 1.55. So friends, the risk of the security is 1.55%. Now we have calculated that risk and return of the security X. So return is 10%, the risk is 1.55%. In the similar manner, in exactly the same manner, the manner in which we have calculated the risk and return of security Y, right? So we will calculate the way we have calculated for security X, we will calculate for security Y. So you are being given the return of the security Y, 15%, 10%, 11%. Probability of these three returns is given 30%, 40%, 30%. So next step is we have to calculate total return, or I will call it average return. So RI multiplied by PI. So 15 multiplied by 0.3, 10 multiplied by 0.4, 11 multiplied by 0.3, and you make summation of it, that will give you the average return. So 4.5 plus 4 plus 3.3, it comes to be 11.8%, right? 8 plus 3, 11, 8 plus 3, 11, 5.5.3.8, right? So 11.8% is the average return. Now the next step is RI minus R bar. So 15 minus this average return, this 10 minus average return, 11 minus average return. Average return we have already calculated 11.8%, right? So average return we have already calculated by summation of RIPI. So RI minus R bar, and then the last step in the last column, the probability multiplied by RI minus R bar whole square, through 3.2 multiplied by 3.2 multiplied by the probability 0.3, right? So you have whole square. Similarly, minus 1.8 into minus 1.8, that will give you RI minus R bar whole square multiplied by 0.4. So the summation of this is last column is 4.56, and as you know, standard deviation formula, right? So under root or square root of 4.56 comes to be 2.14%. So friends, in this way you have already calculated the risk of the security X is 1.55, the risk of the security Y is 2.14%, and the average return of the two securities is different. So in this case we'll take help of the coefficient of variation in order to find out the riskiness of the security. So see, riskiness of the security is coefficient of variation of X. What is the mean standard deviation divided by mean. Similarly, coefficient of variation of security Y, standard deviation divided by mean. So it comes to be 0.16 and 0.18. So as you know by now that the security which is having higher coefficient of variation will be considered as more risky. So security Y is having coefficient of variation of 0.18, it means security Y is more risky. So in this way, my friends, we have used the coefficient of variation for the purpose of calculating the risk. So after talking of, we call it relative risk, right? So after talking of this, now let me come to the another dimension of risk and return, the computation of systematic risk. This is one dimension which I have talked about in order to measure the relative risk. Now I am coming to the other dimension of risk. Friends, in my previous lectures on risk and measurement of risk, I said that there are two types of risk associated with the security in a market. One is called systematic risk, the other is called unsystematic risk. If you recollect, in my previous lectures on systematic risk and unsystematic risk, I have explained in detail what is systematic risk. Just to recapitulate in a minute or so, systematic risk is that risk which is almost same for all the securities that are there, because it is beyond the control of the company, and it is something related to the market, something related to the interest, something related to the inflation situation in the country, something related to the political condition, economic condition, social conditions of the country or the world. And because of that, the risk that arises in an investment of a security is called systematic risk. So the total risk of security comprises of two components, systematic risk and unsystematic risk. So systematic risk is that part of the total risk which is caused by factor beyond the control of specific company, such as economic, political and social factors. If the economic condition changes in a country or in a world, suppose the rate of interest starts rising in the world, America dominates the world economy, right? In the European economy, the American economy, and for that matter even our own economy, India, the rate of interest starts rising. It will impact not one or two companies, it will impact more or less all the companies which are operating in the economy, right? The degree of impact may little bit differ, but it will impact all the companies. If the political uncertainty is there in a country or in a world, there is a geopolitical problems, issues, certainly it will affect all the companies. Means the stock market or all the securities will become more vulnerable because situations are not stable. What I am trying to say is that systematic risk affects all companies and they are not in the control of a management of the company. So how do you calculate this systematic risk, right? Systematic risk is being measured by coefficient of variation, that is the beta coefficient, we call it. So this sensitivity is calculated by beta coefficient. So measurement of systematic risk is beta, we normally call it beta or beta coefficient, you can say. So how do you calculate beta? Beta is equal to covariance of security and market divided by the standard deviation of the market, the square of the standard deviation, or you can call it the variance of the market. So when coefficient of variation, covariance, not coefficient of variation, when covariance of security, specific security and the which you are talking of, so when the covariance of security and market is equal to covariance between return of security S and market return, means it measures the relationship of the market return and the security return. And this variance of market means we call it standard deviation of the market square, right? So variance of the market return is simply we call it market variance. Since beta measures how sensitive is a security return with respect to market return, beta is an indicator of systematic risk of a security. What it means is, friends, that simply speaking, as a layman, I'll say beta is a measure of measuring the risk of the security vis-a-vis market return. When I say market return means you are comparing the risk of the security vis-a-vis the risk of the market. Market means if you invest in the portfolio which consists of all these, say for example, index companies. So if there is a change in the variation in the index to the extent of 10%, whether the return of the security changes by more than 10% or less than 10%, it is being measured by beta. So we say, how do you calculate risk? Risk is basically the variability of the return of a security, and the more is the variability of the return of the security, more is the riskier of the security. So beta measures the comparison between the return of the security and return of the market. When I say market means say index, whether it is Nifty or whether it is Sensex return or whether it is Nifty return. So economic interpretation of beta coefficient of a security is beta measures the resultant change in risk of the security, that is securities return, not risk, return of the security for a unit change in the return of the market. RM means return of the market, RS means return of the security. Hence, it is an indicator of systematic risk of a security. Higher is the beta, greater is the systematic risk. If beta is 1, then the security is as risky as the market portfolio or market index. If when you calculate beta and if it comes to be 1, we'll say the security is as risky as the market return is. The return of the security is as risky as the market. If the market will fall by 10%, the security prices will also fall by 10%. If market will rise by 10%, when I say market will rise means the return of the market will increase by 10%, it means the return of the security will also increase by 10%. If beta is less than 1, then the security is less sensitive, riskier than the market portfolio and hence termed as defensive stock. Like if you take many examples like Nestle, which is a FMCG company, ITC, there are whole host of companies which are quite stable in the sense they fluctuate less as compared to the market. If market goes up by 10% or market falls by 10%, it is not necessary that they will also fall or increase by the same proportion. They normally fall by less than the percentage by which the market falls. Like say for example, company like ITC, which is a fast moving consumer goods industry company, right? So it falls or increases less than it goes in its own direction. It doesn't fall or increase in the same proportion as the market increases or decreases, right? So if beta is greater than 1, we say is a aggressive security, is more riskier a security. Then the security is more sensitive or risky than the market portfolio, hence termed as the aggressive security. So it's like for example, if the beta is 0.7, then a 10% change in market return will result in 7% change in security return. What you are finding is here 0.7 means beta is less than 1. When the beta is less than 1, it means if the market is increasing or decreasing by 10 market return, when I am saying market means return, of market return is changing by 10%, so the return of this security will change by only 7%. So which is the fluctuation is less as compared to market. And if I say if beta is 1.3, right, so it means I will say if 10% change in the market, so the change in the security return will be 13%. So if the beta is 0, I will say it is not, beta is equal to 1, it means it will change in the same proportion the way the market return will change. In some cases, I will say in exceptional cases, beta can also be negative. If a security has negative beta, it implies that the security's return are moving in the opposite direction of the market return. That is, if market is increasing, the return of the security will decrease and vice versa. So when market returns are increasing, securities returns are decreasing and vice versa. So in this way, friends, I can say that beta is a good measure of measuring the systematic risk in a security. So systematic risk means that whether, when I say risk here, means that whether the return of the security changes in the same proportion in which the portfolio, market portfolio, the return changes or not. So this, in this way, beta is a good measure of measurement of systematic risk. Thank you very much.